Hello, my sweet summer children. I'm back with some juice to get you through the long night. If you're new to my channel or if you've missed any of the creep tales of October, there's a playlist that will be linked at the top of the page for your binge watching pleasure. We are told tales of the long night and the last hero who sought out the children of the forest to defeat the White Walkers. We're told about the rise of Valyria and the unnatural Valyrians. We're also told tales of the first men. But what if I said the Northmen aren't technically the first men? But the Valyrians are the first men, and the Night King is Valyrian, blood of the dragon, and only a Valyrian can kill him. The most obvious thing that points to the Night King being Valyrian is that he mounted a dragon. Now, I personally don't think that's enough to claim Valyrian descent, but people that think Tyrion is a Targaryen think that the dragons didn't burn him because they indeed noticed his Valyrian blood. This could be the same with Jon and Drogon. Now, this evidence to me is minor, considering the Night King is somewhat of a magical being himself, and he could have been controlling Viserion with magic. But let's look at some much deeper evidence. If you look at the high tower in Old Town, there's a fortress of fused black stone. It predates the upper level of the high tower by thousands of years. Most maesters accept the common wisdom that declares it to be of Valyrian construction, for its massive walls and labyrinth interiors are all of solid rock, with no hint of joints or mortar. No chisel marks of any kind, a type of construction that is seen elsewhere, most notably in the dragon roads of the freehold of Valyria, and the black walls that protect the heart of Old Volantis. The dragon lords of Valyria, as is well known, possess the art of turning stone to liquid with dragon flame, shaping it as they would, then fusing it harder than iron, steel, or granite. If indeed this fortress is Valyrian, it suggests that the Dragon Lords came to Westeros thousands of years before they carved out their outpost on Dragonstone, long before the coming of the Andals or even the First Men. If so, did they come seeking trade? Were they slavers? Perhaps seeking after giants? Did they seek to learn the magic of the children of the forest? Did they just originate in Westeros? Or was there some darker purpose? Some people claim that the first fortress is not Valyrian at all, that the fused black stone of which it is made suggests Valyria, but the plain unadorned style of the architecture does not. For the sake of little information, let's suggest the fused black stone is indeed Valyrian. Then that would put Valyrians in Westeros long before the Long Night. That would put dragons in Westeros long before the Long Night. What we're shown on TV is the children of the forest shoving a blade of dragon glass into the heart of a man in front of a weirwood. He then turns into a White Walker. This man has brown hair. Valyrians, of course, can have brown hair. Baelor Breakspear had brown hair. Jacaerys, Lucerys, and Joffrey, the three sons of Rhaenyra, had brown hair. Rhaegar's daughter, Rhaenys, had brown hair. And most notably, Jon Snow has brown or black hair. Whatever color their hair is, it's not the silver Targaryen hair. So throughout our story, we're told of magic and the power in king's blood. So what makes us think that this man would be just an ordinary man and not someone with powerful blood? The last actual dragon died in 153 AC during the reign of Aegon the Dragonbane. The summers became shorter after the last dragon died and the winters longer and crueler. But the dragons still lived in Westeros, the human dragons, the Targaryens. It wasn't until 130 years later that House Targaryen would be destroyed by Robert Baratheon and his rebellion. All that was left of House Targaryen was two children, Daenerys and Viserys, on the run across the narrow sea. Daenerys was just a baby in a crib. Then we had Maester Aemon, which was a withering old man on the wall, bound to the Night's Watch. Of course, there was Bloodraven rotting in his cave beyond the wall with roots growing through him, and a little baby Jon Snow. Little, and to the whole world, a bastard of Ned Stark. The White Walkers kill Sir Waymor Royce in 289 AC. At this time, Jon is 14, Daenerys is 13, Maester Aemon is in his 90s, Bloodraven is in a cave, he's over 100 years old, and Viserys is irrelevant, but he was 21. I told you in a previous video, based on the prologue, the attack at the Fist of the First Men, and everything else combined, that the White Walkers were hunting for Jon. If you didn't see that video, I will link it up at the top and below. Before I go any further, Rhaegar thought that he was the prince who was promised, that he was this prophetic hero, but what made him think that? We know allegedly the Ghost of Highheart, or this Woods Witch with Jenny of Oldstones, was the one that pumped up Jacaerys' head with this prophecy of the prince who was promised. But why would it be a Targaryen? Why would a Targaryen be the savior of Westeros? Why not a Stark or an Umber or a Karstark? It just doesn't seem right that a foreigner would be the savior of Westeros, because as far as we know, that's what Targaryens are. They were foreigners that took the Iron Throne by conquest. So we hear the saying, there must always be a Stark in Winterfell. But what if there must always be a Targaryen on the Iron Throne? The presence of Targaryens must have kept the White Walkers at bay. Maybe perhaps the Targaryens are like some kind of White Walker bane. Now, the ending of season 7 was weird. The Night King has a dragon and he used the dragon to breach the wall. So could he have always been waiting on a dragon? I started to think. So Bran's coma dream is important. The first thing I want to point out, the Night King seems to have some kind of green sight and skin changing abilities. So we should think every time something is seen in dreams or weirwoods, the Night King has access to this information. So it's not far-fetched to think that if Bloodraven is sending Bran this coma dream, that the Night King can see it as well. He lifted his eyes and saw clear across the narrow sea, to the free cities and the green Dothraki sea and beyond, to vast Dothrak under its mountain, to the fabled lands of the Jade Sea, to a side by the shadow where dragons stirred beneath the sunrise. So the Night King probably saw this as well. You know what's going on in the free cities and past the Dothraki Sea? Daenerys Targaryen. Daenerys is being wed to Khal Drogo, and she was given the dragon eggs from Asai. Bran had just seen dragons stirring beneath the sunrise in Asai. And Khal Drogo is Daenerys' sunrise, her sun and stars. Viserys is planning his way back to Westeros, and the Night King knows this. Maybe he thinks this is his time. This is my time to strike. So at this time, the Night King could have very well thought, you know, one of these dragons can be my salvation or my bane. The red comet also signaled to them the coming of dragons because stars don't fall for men. I also think that Bloodraven had a part to play in keeping the dragons dead. The incident at Summerhall could have been done on purpose to prevent dragons in Westeros, because if the Night King got one, then it would be doom and gloom. As far as the wall stood, the dead could not pass. Benjen said this.
The wall's not just ice and stone. Ancient spells were carved into its foundations. Strong magic to protect men from what lies beyond. And while it stands, the dead cannot pass.
If the Night King didn't have a dragon, he wouldn't have got past the wall. A Targaryen on the Iron Throne seemed to be enough to keep the Long Night at bay, and dragons were more of a liability than a help, but the whole scene in Beyond the Wall seemed like a setup. Like the Night King knew what was happening before it had happened. The big metal chains already being in place, Jon and company being surrounded on a lake with no escape, the one White Walker just tinkling around with 5 whites. All of it looked like a trap, and the White Walkers let Gendry run all the way back to Eastwatch to send a raven to Daenerys to get a dragon up there. All of it look like a trap and a way to obtain a dragon. And then if you look further at the connection the White Walkers have with Craster and Craster's sons, it's rumored that Craster's sons are only able to be turned into White Walkers because they're babies, but I don't believe that. I think their blood is Targaryen blood or King's blood as well. Craster's father is allegedly a man of the Night's Watch, but who? People have said that it was Bloodraven. Some people think that it's Maester Aemon who fathered Craster, but who knows truly? But if I had to bet, if I was a betting person, the Night King is Valyrian. He has the blood of the dragon, and the only kind of person that can defeat him is one of his own. What do you guys think? I'm going to explore this subject some more. I have a whole series I've been putting together all about the mysterious White Walkers, but for now I just wanted to breeze over certain talking points, and I wanted to get a feel for what you guys think. So what do you think? Is the Night King Valyrian? Was he truly waiting for a dragon? And if Daenerys had never brought her dragons to Westeros, would the Wall have kept the White Walkers out? As always, thanks for watching. Thanks to everyone who supports me on Patreon. Like this video if you like it. Please click that subscribe button and hit that notification bell and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.